When you're a government, you make mistakes, especially in a crisis, including in a pandemic. You bring in policies that might not have had every detail thought through. You spend a lot of money, and in hindsight, you may have done things differently. That's forgivable. Although you wouldn't have thought so if you'd heard the Abbott opposition and subsequent Liberals carrying on a treat during and after the global financial crisis.
Absolute hypocrites.
But on this side, we are a responsible opposition who puts the interests of the country ahead of political point scoring. During COVID, we've been extraordinarily focused on being constructive rather than combative. We did the right thing. But we won't sit back and watch the Morrison government patting itself on the back for adopting our idea and the union movement's idea of wages support and failing to call out the behaviour of big businesses who have pocketed JobKeeper payments when they didn't need them. JobKeeper is the most expensive one-off program ever implemented by an Australian government. The estimate is it'll cost around $100 billion. We've supported the existence of the scheme, and in fact, we're calling for it to be maintained for businesses who have not yet recovered, and that's to protect jobs. But there are big businesses who've taken advantage of the scheme to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. These big listed companies have literally pocketed the JobKeeper funds. Premier Investments, the owner of Smiggle and Just Jeans and Portmans, made a bigger profit last year than it did in 2019. It paid shareholders $57 million in dividends, and Solomon Lew received more than $20 million of those. It also paid its chief executive, Mark McInnes, a $2.5 million bonus, taking his total pay to more than $5 million. Not bad during a pandemic. So how much JobKeeper did Premier receive? $40 million. Some big businesses who found times weren't as tough as they expected have done the right thing, not Premier, but some others. Nick Scali's an example, who've handed back most of their JobKeeper, $3.6 million. Hopefully they'll hand it all back, but what they've done is a start. Toyota returned $18 million. The owner of Rebel and BCF is repaying $1.7 million. Domino's has paid back JobKeeper. Platypus and Hype DC owner Accent Group took $14 million of JobKeeper fund. But it hasn't paid any back. Instead, it paid a bonus of $1.2 million to its head and $50 million in dividends. After 25 years of working in the listed corporate world, my experience is that while big businesses will sometimes do the right thing out of a sense of social responsibility, mostly governments need to mandate it. That's the bit I don't get from the Morrison government. It had no hesitation in hounding welfare recipients that it had overpaid. It sent them threatening letters as part of the robo-debt witch hunt, yet the Prime Minister won't support the call from the Business Council of Australia, from the former Victorian Premier Jeff Kennett, from the Australian Tax Office and from us Labor, who are critical of firms hanging on to JobKeeper at the same time as paying themselves huge bonuses, big dividends and making big profits. It is forgivable to make a mistake, but it is unforgivable not to learn from and correct those mistakes. The university sector was told repeatedly last year that it did not deserve JobKeeper. Hard-working academics in my electorate are being told that overpaying big business is more important to this government than the work that they do. Most people working in the arts and entertainment industry were excluded from JobKeeper. Local government employees were excluded. Casuals of less than 12 months' service were excluded from JobKeeper payments. People on temporary protection visas, international students, they all missed out. I had small businesses in my electorate who were left out. Where two people were in a partnership, only one person was eligible for JobKeeper. Yet big businesses, many of them, raked it in. That shows you whose side this Morrison government is on. It shows you not with their words, but with their actions. There's been a 50% increase in the average wealth of Aussie billionaires in the last year. Yet regions like the Upper Blue Mountains, where international tourism is crucial for local jobs, are about to lose the one thing that's helped them keep some staff employed some of the time and allowed their businesses to keep their head above water. The Prime Minister and Treasurer need to come clean on their mistake. They need to tell us how much JobKeeper support was paid to firms who had an increase in profit, paid executive bonuses and paid huge dividends. it's absolutely clear whose side this Morrison government's on.